RSG, how do they want to respond to this?
I don't think you really counteract the Nyx at all. You just kind of try to get stronger lanes. Nyx can be a little bit slower in the laning phase, which is where the hero really struggles for the most part. That's why it kind of tapered off for a while. But as you mentioned, it has been coming back in counteraction to those deuces we've been seeing. For RSG, I think you just kind of want to hammer in your own support duo, or if not, start to open up, say, your off lane or your mid could be an option here. They do go to Clockwork, so it is that really nice aggressive support. We've seen Xiao Bon play this multiple times. It's been highly effective in Xiao Bon's hand as well. You get a lot of value scouting out. You can counteract the scouting potential of the Nyx with your flare. So you've also got some good ways of scouting around the map. And you've got a good way of breaking up these fights. You can jump the back line, prevent the Pugna from just life draining through, taking away a lot of that durability most Pugna lineups tend to have.
It is very good against the Pugna. That's true. As Pugna, you can't do anything against Clockwork. Even if you run the Pos 4 clock against the Pos 5 Pugna, it's quite a hellish lane for the Pugna, actually. Assuming you can get to that level 3 mark as the clock, that's when things get very, very fun against the Pugna. We'll see what Xiao Bon can get done, though. RSG. Not much reserve time left for this 4th pickup. They are going to go down the Ember route, so that should be the XC Learn hero coming out, I believe.
I mean, you can definitely go for that mid Sand King now if you are looking at this on Polaris. We've seen that matchup against Ember go really well for Sand King. It's very manageable to play with. So I wouldn't mind that for Lelouch here. Get something else on the offlane for Nevermind. Again, most of the offlaners have been banned out. You don't have a great way of handling Dusa from the offlane. Not that you tend to have a great time anyway, considering most matchups are hard to do against Dusa. She's just very lane dominant. Best way to play it's like double stun lane, but again, you don't really have the best options unless if you do shift that Sand King. Instead, Polaris will secure that Natsumi Morphling. It is a comfort pick of his. So they go back into it. Morphling versus Dusa. It's an interesting one. You can kind of manage that matchup yourself. You've got the Ember Spirit to turn into. DP might be a higher priority to turn into with a Morph. Just because Spirit Siphons on Morphling is pretty damn good. You can just sustain yourself in the middle of a fight. But I don't know, it's a bit awkward, right? Like, Dusa feels like it'll outfarm the Morphling. It'll hit the Scotty timing a lot faster. And once that Scotty's up, Morphling's not going to have a great game. It's just going to feel very susceptible to that lack of sustain. You've got good ways to manage that lane as well coming through from RSG. Just with a Clockwork 4, it does feel like in the early levels, there's some pressure you can apply to Morphling. And by level 3, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But I do prefer what RSG has. It just doesn't feel like Morphling's been a great hero to rework to E-Blade. It doesn't feel like we've seen it really show up all too often. And every time it does, it's like the right-click Morphling. You go with something like Manta, maybe a Dragonlance if you can kind of farm it fast enough. And sometimes a Satanic, sometimes a Lincoln, some stat item, Scotty as well. And you are like really beefy. You've got really good right-click. It just feels like the Dusa does that a lot faster just because of that split shot here.
Final pick. Oh, there it is. The Techies comes out again, John. That's exciting. It's we saw this the other day. I think EU it was. Bet Boom were doing it, is what I was trying to say. So Techies comes out. This is a interesting POS 4 to have right now. If it is a POS 4, which I think it might be.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be running the DP off lane up against a Morphling. Not the worst lane in the world. Again, first 3 levels pretty manageable. Past that point can get hard. Techies, I would honestly want to run the Techies Clockwork combo because that feels like the most aggressive. It might be a bit too double down on aggression as you don't really work that lane well. So again, you are likely to just run DP plus... It feels like Roger might play the Techies. I don't know about Dusa Techies lane though. So maybe just a DP Techies lane. But Clockwork Dusa is also not the most amazing lane. I mean, it's a great pick. The best lane outcome, the best lane combination I see is really Clockwork Techies. Maybe you run a bit of a tri-lane look for First Blood. and kind of reset, as that is something RSG has done a couple of times as well. Polaris, they have to deal with the nuisance of that techies now. It's a very oppressive hero, even with a rework to the ult. The mines cut you off, and they will go for the Darkseer. So we are seeing our Sand King mid. Nevermind, we'll take the Darkseer off lane. And that should be a manageable lane for Lelouch. Xiao Bon is playing the techies. So Roger's likely... Yeah, Roger's on the Clockwork, and you've got Xiao Yu on the offlane DP. DP techies lane. It's an interesting one, Mike. The last time we saw techies, it was working because you'd have a stun combo into a sticky bomb. And, you just run down, like Dragon Tail stun to sticky bomb, along with Blast Off. Xiao Yu can't set up that way, but you are up against a Morphling anyway, so you might not be looking for that kind of aggression. I'm keen to see how much Xiao Bon can get out. I mean, he is a techie specialist, if you remember his time from 496.
Yeah.
I do remember 496 picking up the techies a couple of times, so I'm keen to see his interpretation of this once more.
So am I, John. I think he's a great techies player, and I'm sure of anyone, he's going to know exactly what to do with this hero with these recent changes. What draft do you prefer, though, Jonathan? Going into game one, do you think Polaris Esports have got the better draft, or do you lean the way of RSG?
I'd lean towards Polaris. I mean, I have my doubts about Morphling, but you have a really good team fight coming out from Polaris to kind of compensate. You've got Vac Wall, Vac into Impale, Vac into Burrow Strike's really big. Medusa Illusion Sound Line are going to do a lot of work, and I think that's going to be enough to really break it. We see Polaris execute around these team fights oriented drafts really well, and that's where the lineup shine. So having that comfortable play style, I think, for Polaris will give them a slight edge in terms of executing on this point.
It certainly will, John, but we'll get into it. Game number one, I'm actually quite torn. I feel like RSG has the better draft going into this one, so for once you and I disagree on things, and that always makes things a little bit more fun as we do go into it. Game number one.
Prepare for battle.
I don't know what it is, John. I feel like techies is very strong right now. I know we both kind of agreed on this, because you look at Sticky Bomb, 360 damage on a 6-second cooldown, so we are going to have a bit of a all chat between these two. Playhard and Xiao Yu having a chat. We can go back to our home together. All right. Jeez, it's starting to sound like you and I, John.
You love to see it. Love coming through from Xiao Yu and Playhard. I mean, they were together in a team for a while, so the brotherhood is there. But that brotherhood has to disappear, Mike. One of them's got to win, the other's got to lose. Savior's telling them to stop being plastic. Of course, the captain has to step in, reel his players in. Ensure that they're not getting too buddy-buddy here.
Absolutely not. Can't have that. No friends in Dota 2. There's one thing you learn on the SCA server, there's no one's your friend. And if they're on your own team, they're always against you. RSG. My big doubt right now for Polaris is the Darkseer. If I'm quite frank, like, I don't know how well it does. Like, I realize the Medusa illusion being taken is pretty potent, that's for sure. After that, though, I don't really believe so much in the hero.
I mean, it's really just the setup. Vac Wall, Burrow Strike, Impale.
Right.
It's very straightforward to get the Ravages off, so I think that's what Nevermind's got to focus on. And we'll see how much you can get done. It is also a classic lane here, Mike. Nyx Darkseer lane, so you can kind of play with the Surge, play with the Impale early on, and just run down the lane, make it a bit annoying here for the side of RSG. Medusa can still be lane dominant. A duo with Clockwork's not the most dominant, but you can cut them off and try to play with some well-timed Mystic Snakes. Still, this does make the matter of Roger just running up and getting damage off, and your level's a bit tougher. The Iron Shell, not the most potent at this point, but enough to kind of burn him away if he stays for too long.
Oh, absolutely. I think Roger's kind of, his mission in this bot lane is to make sure that MKS has a very free lane, as the Impel is going to fly out. They are trying to secure that range creep, but it is not going to work. Not with that level 1 Iron Shell, it won't. They will be able to secure the deny here on RSG, but we'll have a look at the other lanes as well while we have a chance. Of course, Lelouch, XE Learn, they're going to be against each other here in the mid lane. We've seen the Ember vs Sand King matchup a couple times now, and it really does start to feel like once you get a couple levels up, the Sand King does take over. Especially with the Caustic Finale, it can be quite a painful experience for XE Learn.
Yeah, and you're not quite set up for pushing out Lelouch here on XE Learn's end. No Sentry Ward ready. So you could play greedy here on Lelouch, just go for a Sandstorm, constantly clear out the creep wave, make it hard for Exilern to walk up. He will take some damage out as well because only 70% block on Flame Guard. So there's constant presence here from Lelouch. Ring control is important for both sides, as he will want the bottle up in Sand King here. And Exilern does have some outplay potential with Sleight of Fist, so you do have a way of trading back and forth here.
Have a look at that final lane as well. Top lane, Xavius, Xiaobonbon, going to be against, of course, Natsumi. He's going to be there with Xavius, and he'll be against Xiao Yu on the DP. Xiaobonbon, Xavius going at it. Because there is one positive about the POS 5 Pugna is you do have the Nether Ward, so I guess a lot of the magic damage being dealt by the techies is going to be kind of negated by that Nether Ward, but even then, I think the amount of damage you can get is just so high on Xiaobonbon. The issue is, yeah, he doesn't have the stun setup, so you might not find a kill. We'll see what they do. I'm still very intrigued by this techies pick.
Yeah, I think it's still a strong pick, but they've got to find a way to work the harassment onto Natsumi. Try to see if you can time the blast off as well, prevent him from playing around with attribute shift. This lane does become a little bit more manageable for Natsumi by the time he hits this level 3 though. So attribute shift's going to be on hand. And as mentioned, Natsumi is a Morphling specialist. We've seen him play this hero multiple times. He knows the ins and outs. He knows the lane matchup. Up against DP, it's a solid enough farming lane. You might get harassed out, you might get ranged out, but the DP can't do too much to threaten you unless you misstep here in the Morphling.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Back down a bot lane. MKS having a pretty swole time here. But they are going to go for the battery assault. Cogs not going to catch Nevermind. Bit unfortunate. Had you caught the Darkseer, that probably would have just been a kill, guaranteed, to go the way of MKS, but they won't have it. Nevermind barely getting away, but even with the double Iron Shot combination, it is quite scary against Clock Medusa. And if you get the Cogs with the battery assault, especially at this level 3 mark, it is so much damage. He's now play hard, gonna have to suffer through it as well. No Cogs to come out, so the Surge is gonna make it so he can get away. It's the second time now Roger could not secure the kill because he just didn't have the Cogs.
Yeah, Roger did a great job of cutting off that courier though. It had the Soul Ring of Nevermind. So the spam ability of that Iron Shell, it's still gonna be waiting for a little bit longer. That's a good window where MKS can just farm without worrying, and Dedusa is having a pretty solid start. 11 denies, slowing down the EXP gain that you really need here in the Darkseer, preventing those early spikes, and just kind of punishing this greedy offlane. Playhard's gonna need levels as well, but all these denies, you're not finding that EXP quite fast enough here.
Still no first blood being drawn either. As I say that, Nevermind does get very low on the Darkseer, but he's fine. Mid lane, Lelouch, Exilern going at it. Exilern able to take first blood. As I say it, Sleight of Fist again proving to be more than enough here on the Ember. Just so much bonus damage.
Yeah, and he opts for a 1-3-1 build, so realizing that he's going to need a Searing Chains to try and hammer in that kill. Does eventually get it. Full Orb of Corrosion up now as well for Exilern, so that right-click damage is amped up even more, so a bit of a rougher start here for Lelouch, not able to work the lane as well as he hoped to. Again, the matchup can go either way. If you play your cards right, both heroes have openings to play with, but now that Exilern has his early 6, it's going to be very secure, no kill threat onto him.
Natsumi ends up dropping. Xiaobonbon looks like the blast off silence. Making it a little bit challenging for Natsumi to be able to morph, and they do end up getting a massive kill top lane. And theoretically, you should have double silence available here as well. Xiao Yu does end up getting it. That can be pretty painful, John. Like, well, hold that thought, because bot lane, never mind. He's going through a bit of pain of his own. He is going to make it out. Roger getting a bit of vision on play hard, but can't see Nevermind. But back to my point, like, how much seconds of silence do you have here? Like a max level, 6-second silence on Xiao Yu, and on top of that, you also have the 7-second silence from the blast off.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ways of holding that Morphling, and again, Natsumi's just gonna watch his steps. There's not much contribution you can really expect from Pugna in terms of defensive plays. Xavius is just focusing in on building some stacks up. Looks like Lelouch will be the one to clear that out. So, again, just play it a little bit safe. You don't have too much aggression on your safe lane. Lelouch, with these stacks, though, built up by Xavius, should be able to hit that blink timing, and that's when the Sand King can really start to play. You can try to show up with the Epicenter, play with, say, the Iron Shell on the Sand King, start running from there. The issue is you are a bit slower in the build-up here on the Darkseer, but up top...
Oh, Natsumi gonna be saved. Impel was there, and now the follow-up. Lelouch gonna show up with the epicenter. Zhao Yu doesn't really have the greatest way out of this. He's gonna try and siphon his way out, and it is helping. Lelouch waiting for another burrow strike. Play hard. He'll have the Impale very soon. Lelouch looking to set up the Impale. It does land, but it's not going to be enough. The movement speed proving to be enough here with Zhao Yu. Already at 390 without even activating the phase boots. So it turns out he was fast enough in the end to just be able to run his way out.
Yeah, you gotta love that Prophet hard here to hold down once you commit your stuns. If you don't manage to kill her, and you know, Spirit Siphon's already up to level 3. Going for a 3-0-3 build at 6, bypassing the Exo. They are invading the jungle here. RSG might find some good punishment.
Well done. Sentry down. Chains are there. Xe Learn finding Lelouch. Cogs pushes back one, but it's actually going to hold in Lelouch anyway. I guess Roger wasn't trying to trap Lelouch, but he kind of burrow strikes in anyway. And now the chain's out. Xe Learn finding a double, but doesn't have any mana left. Needs a sleight of fist, but needs the mana for it. There it is from the stick charges. He'll get it done. Great game so far for the Ember.
Yeah, Xe Learn just building up really fast. Has the right game sense from the entire team to invade that jungle, knowing that Xavius was missing from lane for a while. So the stacks were being built up. They want to get some punishment, and they get it done. While that's happening, of course, MKS still has a very free lane bot. That level disparity with the Medusa and the Darkseer is racking up. You don't have the threat of wall, you don't have the threat of max level Iron Shell from the DS to just shove the wave away. And MKS is still secure. You've got to watch yourself allowing this Medusa to keep that farm game up. Top does fall here as well. Zhao Yu does eventually get that Exo and make short work of the objective. So laning phase looking really strong for RSG. 4-2, 3k lead up their way. The aggression has been ramping up, and there's been no clean response here from Polaris. They're just forced to play the slower game with their slower cores on hand. At the least, you've got the Blink flying out for Lelouch, so you can try to go once more with that Epicenter and Burrow Strike.
Top lane. Zhao Yu still feeling rather aggressive. Doesn't have the exorcism, but might chase down Xavius. They do need a bit of help, I think, because Lelouch is going to come in. With the epicenter, Zhao Yu's gone too far, and he's going to pay. Xavier somehow surviving. So Xe Learn's going to try and secure the kill with the sleight of fist, but look at the damage output. He almost dies to the Netherward.
Yep, it's shocking him quite a fair bit. Again, on the support, Pugna pause 5, you tend to max that Netherward, drop the spell damage, get a lot of burn and damage across in the spam. And Ember is a very spammy hero with a sleight of fist, so you have to watch yourself. If you can't reach the ward, you're in a pretty tough position to try to keep that chase going. And Xavius does barely manage to eke his life out. Still, RSG is, I think you're still perfectly fine with missing out on a couple of these kills and sacrificing your DP. In the end, MKS is still getting his build up, right? Like your Dusa is still set to have a really smooth ride. Not a massive lead on MKS. In fact, Polaris for the most part are keeping up outside of Nevermind. So the Darkseer is off to the slower start, but everyone else is pretty happy on Polaris' end. And as long as the Morphling is keeping up, at the end of the day, this is still a Morph. It's just looking for farm priority, working towards the Dragonlance, working towards his stat items, and will show up once he does feel ready to go here.
So will MKS. He's having a very good time, top of the net worth board at the moment on that Medusa. Let's play hard. He's going to get spotted out. Zhao Bonbon will actually go for a blast off. In the meantime, though, MKS, he's getting jumped himself. He's completely out of mana. They've got plenty of damage with the wall being dropped. Nevermind takes care of it, and MKS, they got play hard at least on Zhao Bonbon, but oh wait a minute, Roger gonna try to turn. Lelouch is still going with a burrow strike. They can't hold him down. In fact, Lelouch, he might keep trying to go. It's a sticky bomb. Will latch on, and well, he's seen enough. He can't keep going with that.
Just a bit too spammy. Is forced to back off. Should get his bottle reset. And you do have level 6 on Xavius for the Tranks. So, instant reset. Lelouch can go again, but the side of RSG has completely backed off. This should give Polaris the chance to push in that bot tier 1, even up map control just a little bit more. Nevermind with a really good play there. Does have the Vanguard to tank through those hits from the Dusa now. And it's just that aspect of wall. You have to respect the illusions coming out. You have to respect the damage output. MKS only level 1 shield. They will pop the Exo onto the mid here from RSG's end. We're looking for a tier 1 tower trade on the mid. Fortify is out, and Lelouch still has the epicenter to play with here.
He's going to channel it up. Xiao Yu is going to be targeted. Lelouch, a very nice initiation thus far, as Impale is going to fly through, and that'll be the Death Prophet. Very, very smart initiation there from Lelouch. Polaris, they'll be happy with that. As long as they hold the mid-tier 1 tower, they won't be too stressed out. We do see Xe Learn mistime the power rune. Does miss out in the end, but it was just an illusion. Not too big of a deal. In the meantime, never mind. Being chased down by Xiaopon. This hero, man, it's not right, John. It's not right.
He just runs him down. Max sticky bumps. The damage does rack up. I mean, they find a counter kill, but it's still a pretty good trade for RSG, and that's a pause for an off lane. Gonna be feeling really good. And never mind's been off to a slow start. Again, he made that big play on the wall, but his itemization, his build-up has been rather slow. Blink's gonna be a while. The arcane boots are gonna take a little bit longer as well. It's down to the rest of Polaris to kind of pick up the slack, and they certainly have been. But it's as you mentioned earlier, Mike. MKS, besides that one death, has been farming really well. Is working towards that Manta style next, so more stats coming through, and a way of dispelling some of that annoying spells from Polaris, particularly the Decrep could be the big one. So it's going to be a little bit harder to pin him down, and again, you might have killed him once, he just shifts lanes, still outfarms your Morphling. Polaris will now eventually find that bot tier 1, so they've got the bot jungle to play with, but there are some good defensive wards here from RSG on their outpost. So they have a rough idea as to when Polaris is farming down here. They are making plays top, but
yeah, Roger just getting caught out. Can't survive against Xavius. Play hard. He's just going to hang around. Maybe just try and annoy MKS on this Medusa. He will intercept. MKS being watched, but Play Hard might need a bit of assistance if they want to even try for this kill. There is going to be a smoke up here from Lelouch, so he is making his way down south. Play Hard hoping MKS stays in the triangle, but MKS, he knows something's wrong. Impale's gonna land. Play Hard, he'll get started. Here comes the cavalry. Lelouch still making his way over, but he's too late. He's not gonna make it in time. Or is he? No, he's blinked out. He doesn't want to even try. Play Hard getting a little bit impatient. I suppose going a little bit too early, but well, Lelouch, he was trying to get there in time, just not moving fast enough.
Didn't quite find the angle that will allow them to defend mid though.
Oh, bot lane, Xiaopon. He's found Natsumi. Mid lane, Xiao Yu and Xe Learn though, both gonna drop. A big setup in the mid lane it seems, as they'll find Roger to boot. The Clockwork's gone. Just so funny, looking back at this tech, he's killing off everybody.
Yeah, it's a techies. What can you do? Bigger win coming out from Polaris, keeping down that Ember and the DP. But another great burrow strike and epicenter for Lelouch. Immediate smoke out. They want to hunt the Deuce. They get a good scan off onto MKS. But without the epicenter, it's a little bit harder to get the damage off. Will they fully commit? Looks like they will.
Yeah, Burrow's there. Play Hard. He'll have the follow-up.
Ooh.
He won't have the follow-up, John. He missed the follow-up. Chains are out. Play Hard. He's in pretty big danger now. He's gone.
Learn from your mistake.
It never feels good to miss the standing impel. That's one that never really is excusable.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't quite chain stun for the burst strike. Play Hard was just a little bit behind, and that does cost them massively. And it'll allow RSG to group up mid once more. DD up and Xe Learn. Tower's not the healthiest, even without the exorcism. It should be fairly doable.
Roger. Make the move in. Xavier's gonna try and turn now as he's got Natsumi behind, but a big blast off. Xiaopon bonds in again. Look at the silence. The Morphling can't morph. Onto the Sand King they go. Mines everywhere. Lelouch, be careful. It ain't safe. I'll tell you, John, it's when this damn shards comes up on the techies. You get the silence plus the stun on blast off, and every time it catches the enemy off guard.
Oh yeah, it's really, really difficult. The Morphling needs a defensive item up. The Manta has to come soon, but it's still a ways off here. for Natsumi, and now RSG with a mid taken out, take control off that top jungle, start to clear out camps, and cut off any farm source for the side of Polaris. So they're gonna have to find a way to keep stalling out for Natsumi. The Manta is gonna be a good point. You might actually want to opt for a BKB as well. Just go full defensive on the Morph. Wouldn't mind that too much, just to be able to stand and fight. Polaris still kind of grouping up here on the bot, just playing as a team. They do spot Xiao Bonbon and Xiao Yu.
Play hard. He's going to show off with the Iron Shell. Xiao Yu not seeing it yet. Xiao Bonbon going to go for the disarm, trying to help out. Xiao Yu still surviving with the life drain. Is there Roger? He's going to hook shot in, but they're falling very low here on RSG. They cannot fight back. Surely. I mean, even Xavius won't drop. Exi learn. Oh, nice to Crepify. Going to avoid the sleight of fist here on Xavius. 3 down for RSG. Polaris Esports fighting back and will play hard, setting up beautifully that time.
Just scouts out. Not enough sentries drop down here from the side of RSG, and they do get punished for it. That Nyx does still give really good forward vision. They managed to play off the back of it really well. That's some much needed kills. Natsumi needs everything he can find to start building into that Manta and start catching up on the Dusa. Network gap has been growing. MKS given all the space in the world to just build up. Manta style already up on Dusa. Onto the Scotty next, and the Scotty timing's the real painful one for the Morph. It just doesn't feel like you're going to be able to stand and really leverage your essence shift as much, or your attribute shift as much. So you've got to kind of find a way to enter these fights safely. You're relying a lot on Lelouch and on Nevermind to pull that off, but the blink is up for Nevermind, and he is going for the shard next. So you'll have the normal punch to play with as well. MKS will spot Nevermind out, but not going to force any big issue. They are still kind of worked up elsewhere as a team. RSG is in a pretty good clump up though. Could look for a smoke play if they wanted to here. They might just.
The scan's only going to be on the illusions. The actual Medusa has backed off, so MKS
Never refuse gold given.
is fine to continue working onto that Eye of Skadi. And Natsumi's still trying to work onto the Manta. He's going to have it soon, but still behind the Medusa. Maybe once he has the BKB up, he can start to get really involved. But there is going to be a big smoke up. RSG, 3-man smoke. Xavius, he'll get some wards down early on. Xiao Yu can have his smoke broken immediately. Do they still want to move in? Hookshot is there. Roger, he's going to fly and play hard. But they've got Xiao Yu locked down with the disarms out. He's gone. No chance. Exi learn. Can't stick around either. He's going to back out of there as MKS shows up. Never mind. He's going to try and surge away. Lelouch will move back in. MKS still trying to fight this one out, but it's not looking too good for him. Exi Learn does get taken down by Lelouch, and now MKS completely surrounded. Can't fight 5 by himself quite yet, that's for sure. And it's Roshan time for Polaris.
And massive team wipe coming out for Polaris, punishing RSG. Really great forward ward being dropped by Xavius before that fight broke up. Going onto the high ground, he doesn't get scouted out. And does manage to spot those TPs and the angling in from RSG. It is paying off now. The double blinks are starting to show up here. Roshan, not the quickest, but you don't have enough respawn time, although.
Whoopsie. Xiao Bonbon trying to do something a little bit cheeky there, but mistimes the blast off. So you've got Roger. Roger can try as well. Hookshot is on the mark, but Roshan is not down yet either.
Oh. He got killed off by the Roche police.
Very nice.
So, Roger doesn't bleed away gold. Valiant effort. It does still end up the way of Polaris. And now they're starting to reel this game back into their side now. Mike, 2k up. The Manta enough to have Natsumi show up, dispel some of those stuns off. Still working towards the BKB. So again, just all defensive. Wants to be able to stand and fight up against the lineup of RSG. And you do have the normal punch on Nevermind, so you just have multiple Medusa illusions coming through. Those do start to hurt. And it's getting difficult for RSG to find the angle. Like, their initiation has been mainly on the Ember, and to an extent their support duo, Xiao Bonbon and Roger, having to work the angles for the hook shot and the blast off, and it does feel like Polaris are making that tougher to find now.
They are, John. Things are still very tough here for RSG. Polaris really starting to feel quite comfortable on the map after that top tier 1 tower. Ags coming out on Natsumi is always fun. Love to see that.
Tower has fallen.
Who's he morphing into though, John? What's the idea? Like the Sand King, the Nyx? I guess the Sand King's the big one.
Yeah, Sand King's the bigger one, but it would be funny to see Pugna just for double Nether Ward. That could be one way
that
to
is
kind of
true.
complicate these fights.
I forgot about that. Wait, does that stack though? Does the spell resist stack? Is my question now.
I actually don't think so, but the
Hold on,
damage
John.
stack.
Bot lane, they're onto MKS, they've got the wall down, MKS, he's fighting himself right now. Natsumi, love to move in, MKS gonna try for the TP away, but they have the vision on the high ground. Lelouch is there with the Yules, and that'll be your Medusa gone. MKS getting normal punched up, he can't go anywhere. It's very dark times here for RSG. So even with this Medusa being the top net worth, it just doesn't seem to prove to be enough. They are still just outplaying them on Polaris' end.
And they're just finding the openings now, working around that teamfight combination really well. Despite that slower start for Nevermind, starting to take over. You know, he's on top of Xiao Yu, on top of Excellurin in terms of build-up. And once he has that BKB, he's just going to be free to always find the angle for his normal punches. Are starting to get a bit of a shove in now with Natsumi.
Radiant's bottom
Start to
tower
work towards that plot tier 2. Top is being shoved in the creep wave, but ooh.
Yeah, Excellurin gets caught out on the Ember. Not great news for the bottom defense that is to be coming. RSG, they might have to just give up on it now. Again, just pretty bad news here.
Radiant's bottom tower
They will
has
take the
fallen.
bottom tier 2 tower. Natsumi. Xiao Yu. Gives the tip over to Nevermind. 5k
Just a
net
casual
worth lead.
normal punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a casual normal punch with a blink in. Just runs out right afterwards, no problems there. Just showing up, beating someone else in their own house, and then just running away. That's what Darkseer does. Still, RSG, I mean, it really does feel like they've gone all in onto MKS now. They've sacrificed their build up here on Excellurin, their build up on Xiao Yu. No BKB yet for our DP. Well, yeah, it's flying out in the career, so a little bit more presence from DP in the middle of these fights. You do have to worry about that Ags timing on Natsumi, though. Again, double Burst Strike Sandstorm is the big one, but I wouldn't mind, say, double Darkseer for more Iron Shells, double Pugna for double Nether Ward. The damage that you do back with the Mana Spam, again, that has been killing our Ember, and double of that is just going to be way more painful.
Gonna have a quick pause out. Natsumi apparently having a few mic issues here. Someone on the side of Polaris is having some mic issues. We do have the go-ahead once again. Ags up on Natsumi could make time very, very hard for RSG now. We are yet to see exactly who he's planning to morph into. I still think it should be the Sand King, but I mean, you might be right. The double Nether Ward could be the way to go, and if it does stack with the spell damage, that is kind of just stupid, honestly. But he's going to go into the Medusa form, it seems. That's what he wants for now.
I don't think it's too bad. You've got good damage to pump out. Mystic Snake is pretty good on you as well, and you get the Ags upgrade and you're in.
Oh, Epicenter, MKS, that's a great wall out into a Burrow Strike. Oh, they are going to get wiped. Oh, he's been so good, never mind. After a terrible laning stage, Lelouch, he's going to find another. Xiao Bonbon, he'll get the tip over from Natsumi. He's made this Morphling's life a living hell this game. But now into the mid-tier 2 tower they go, and maybe even high ground, John. They still have the Aegis up.
Radiant's middle
Only for a
tower
few
is
more
under
seconds, but we will have that reset on Natsumi at least. I don't know if they can fully commit. The hold of RSG is decent enough, but it's not like old techies where you worry about the old landmine, so should be a bit more clear. And they know a couple of BKBs were used right before dying. Xiao Yu popped his right before death. No Vac Wall to play with. You've always got the Burst Strike, and you've got this great front line now. Natsumi does play poke for a bit, doesn't force the issue. We'll go back and just reset. They have to be careful of the procs mines. There's Xavius. Oh,
Watch out, Xavius. He'll put the ward down just in case. I mean, why not, right? And Xiao Bonbon, he's around the area. Hanging about. More mines to be placed, just trying to catch somebody. Roger is going to join for the fight with the hook shot, but he may have just sacrificed himself. They'll try onto the Nyx. He's still fine. Too many mines, though. He does eventually go down. Polaris, are they really going to try again? Epicenter's back up here for Lelouch. They could try. Those mines might make it a bit too obvious, but Lelouch, he's still fine as the vacuum is there. The double burrow strike out from Lelouch once again. MKS, he's got the illusion out. He's in big trouble. He'll be life drained. And with the Stone Gaze, he might have a bit of time. But Natsumi surely can chase him down and finish him off, and he does. Exilern will keep trying. He will take down the Darks here. He might find Xavius. But he's going to get his own way out. The chase is on. Natsumi right behind him. One more will do it. Lelouch in the meantime taking care of Roger. It's Polaris.
Radiant's top tower.
Well, they'll get the final outer tower.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
The RSG with no outer towers left. Polaris Esports should be able to get the high ground going. In with just Natsumi. It's just such a hard defense when you've only got Exilern and Jarbonbon to come.
Radiant structures.
Yeah, they're forced to use Fortify on a single hero push. Opens up an opportunity for Polaris on the next time around. They've got about a minute until we see that Roche respawn timer. So Polaris do have a nice objective to play for. They've got control of the triangle. They've got the bottom outpost to cut off the farm. RSG send, and it's at that point again where you're on the Dusa, you don't have the gold advantage. You do feel like you need the item stop. Even then,
Nice hook shot. Cox pushback from Roger. Chains not going to lock him down though. Yeah, the Nyx might be okay. The cavalry is incoming. They've got the DP now locked down. So Zhao Yu's gone a bit too far. There's your normal punch out. Locking him down. MKS, he'll try to fight, but a big burrow strike. Lelouch onto 3 heroes. Needs a bit of help though. The Stone Gaze makes it hard. Lelouch, he does get blown up. And now Natsumi might need to back off, but in they go again. In with the Sand King down, they want to keep the fight going. Xavier's going to show up. They'll blow up Roger. In goes Nevermind. Exilern, he's fine for now. For now, I mean. But not for long. Because they'll chase him down a little bit longer. Surge is out. Waveform forward. Exilern, he's actually juked them out. In fact, Natsumi, now he's the one in trouble. He'll manta up though. Purge off the stun. They'll disarm him. He'll try for the TP, the Decrepify. The Decrepify saves the Morphling. They'll take down Play Hard. But my goodness, RSG, they do manage to hold high ground.
that was a clutch Force Staff out to just drag Natsumi away from some damage flying through. And just barely staying alive through it. They do manage to find some good punishment on RSG for that overextension from Polaris. But fortunately for both sides, or fortunately for Polaris at least here, Roshan is still going to be a minute 40 seconds away. So RSG can't just clean up that objective, look for their own siege onto the tier 2s. Instead, have to just get the farm back from the retaken triangle and just get that build up on the Deucer. Once that BKB's up on MKS, that's when things feel a lot better for the Deucer. You're not going to be constantly thrown off by the vacuum, by the impale, and the Earth Spike. Although Xiaobonbon
gets caught out. Nevermind, he's been very good on this Darkseer, setting up constantly. He'll get another. Xiaobonbon, unable to get those mines down and be a more of a nuisance than he already has been this game. RSG desperately trying to make their way over, but they're not going to be able to find a straggler. Back Natsumi in the meantime. Lelouch, once again, Burrow strike out, hook shot. Roger gonna try and save Zhao Yu. He will walk, but I can't say the same for Roger. Easily to go down on the clockwork. Sadly, Roshan's not up for either team right now, but there is a double Temetrune waiting for it. And it is just about 35 seconds away.
Yep. Gonna be a nice big opening for them with the DD on hand here as well, as is tradition. Natsumi's got the bottle up as well. RSG need to be able to force the fight out there. As you mentioned, they've got Clockwork, they've got an Ember, they've got Techies, so they can try to angle in onto the Roche, but Polaris are well aware. They've been ready for these team fights, they've been showing up with that additional control. The BKB still not quite done on MKS, but they are starting to group up here.
RSG. I'm not going for the move in, but do so quite yet. Polaris sitting back waiting for the Roshan, and it does just spawn up, but I think they missed it.
No, they saw it.
Okay, they saw
Play
it.
hard was in.
Rocket Flare did also capture. Smoke is out. Polaris. Might be a bit of an obvious smoke here. MKS will be around to break the smoke on the high ground, but it seems like they are really trying to wrap around. Never mind, gonna have his smoke broken. Does try to jump in, but doesn't realize they're in the triangle right now. A bit of an awkward engagement so far from the Radiant team, or rather Dire, as they do hook shot in. Roger, he's out. Jarbon Bon already dead. On to Play Hard. They want the Nyx. They might have him. XE Learn taking care of both supports, Xavius and Play Hard. They're gone, but buybacks are there. MKS, he's out of Stone Gaze and he's out of life. They got the Medusa again. Zhao Yu gonna be taken down to boot, and Roger, he might be dying back. And he will be. Natsumi just hitting way too hard.
Radiant's top tower.
They'll go for more. Lelouch
Radiant's
wanting to use that epicenter up.
fall.
Won't. Instead, tier 4 towers it is. They've locked down the Ember. The vacuum's there again
my
from
God.
Nevermind. Ultra kill, and the talentless comes out from Play Hard.
Radiant's
Oh,
top
somehow
tower.
that voice line, John, it always gets the GG to come out.
Oh, of course it does. It's one of the best voice lines from the heroes.
It is.
And Polaris play really well to hold up. That was an atrocious start for Nevermind. You know, he was a level behind Medusa, severely behind in gold, bottom net for core. But once he got that blink up, lining up with the Sand King blink, they just started playing with that. They got the double initiation, Vac Wall with the Impale with a Burrow Strike, which is big enough. And as mentioned, Medusa illusions do a lot of damage to her entire team.
Yeah.
The presence was there from Polaris, and all the investment in MKS turned against RSG. And Natsumi also just managed to find the space to build up on that Morphling to be this massive core that they didn't have an answer for. So despite that strong start from RSG in the laning phase, it just felt like it fell apart. Like they were forcing these fights. I think Xiaoyu was out of position a couple of times. They were at that mid-tier 1. And that was reflective that time. He used his exorcism for the first time, got Burrow Striked, and you know the combination came true. And then they tried again, exact same spot. Polaris finds the same punishment. I think RC's got to be able to adjust on the fly, respect the team fight of Polaris, because that's what they tend to love. They love forcing their gameplay around these big ults. And RSG were doing great in laning, but they need to be able to adapt to that kind of play from Polaris here.
That they do, John. And we are going to get into game number 2 very, very soon, as we are going to have to head off to a very short break. But after that 10-minute break, we'll be back with game 2 and our final game of the night between RSG and Polaris Esports. We'll see you then.